We have Ron Waymeyer, who did the big Albee Theater organ restoration down at Music Hall. He has agreed to help us out and cut us a deal, but we still have to raise a little money. And so the plan is to put the two chambers up here, and we have all the louvers, all the doors and everything, and swell shades, and unlike some of the other installations in town, there's probably 5 or 6 Wurlitzers in town, and ours would have regularly scheduled performances, because now they have technology that it's like a big player piano. If no one is on hand to actually play it that day, whatever's been recorded into it will be able to play. So
They use MIDI a lot now?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So we won't be using the original switcher, which we've preserved, but we will be able to recreate Moon River, a lazy stream of dreams whose vain desires forget themselves in the loveliness of sleep. Moon River.
Let me ask you again, what is your name and what your...
Mike Martini. I am a co-founder and president of Media Heritage. And so, whereas the Gray Museum is kind of like the hardware, we're kind of the software. We're more the programs, the people, the men and women, the broadcasters. That's kind of our area of expertise. So.
Now this is the VOA site in Bethany, and they went off the air in what, 90? Was it
93, maybe?
90, sounds right.
Yeah.
93.
Yeah, our organization was founded in 2001 after a local historian and archivist, his collection went to Baltimore. We decided to found our organization, Mark Magistrelli and I. And then around 2004, we moved up here because Westchester had a building and needed some occupants, and we were looking for a new home. So,
great.
Originally, we didn't think about a museum, but over the years, we collected enough stuff, and we thought that would be a good adjunct to our mission, which is preserving local broadcast history.
Great.
So
looks
yeah,
like a lot of
we,
this is where all the ABB transmitters were.
Correct.
Along here.
Right, and it actually is twice as deep as what you see. So.
And before that was the Crosleys.
Correct.
Yeah.
And both sides, the Crosleys are on both sides, and so we've carved out our little museum here, and kind of runs more of a timeline. We recreated a 1930 radio studio to kind of show how things were separated back then. You had the monk's cloth curtain with a performance area and antiques. WSAI really had beautiful studios back in the early 20s, the chandeliers and the antiques. But so we tried to get a sense of that. The little board was from WTAM in Cleveland, and we have purchased that several years ago. So it's kind of vision idea. In fact, we just got the clock yesterday. The Crosley Playtime Junior from 1931. It belonged to Dick Schenck, who was a WW engineer from around 1930 into the 70s. And,
it looks a little like Rosemary Clooney.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So yeah, it's a little, we like try to show folks how studios have changed. And then on either side here, we have photographs. These are all people who worked in Cincinnati at one point or another in their careers, from Mills Brothers to Beth Waller, to Norman Corwin, to Eddie Albert, to Ramona, Ink Spots. Skelton worked here a little bit.
I used to be a big fan of Red Skelton.
Yeah, he had a show called Avalon Time, and technically he wasn't an employee of WLW, but they broadcast Avalon Time out of the Arlington Street Studios for about a year and a half until they moved it back to Chicago. The telephone actually came from LW2. It was donated by the widow of Blanche Underwood, the widow of Phil Underwood, who was an engineer. Crosley.
So this is a Crosley radio clock.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at first, but now I see the radio.
It was called Playtime Junior. They
Yeah.
had another one called, I'm trying to remember the other one. It was more of a banjo-style grandmother clock. But,
Never seen anything like that before.
and that was in great shape. I mean, you could tell he took really good care of it. Of course, it's nice the fact that he was an engineer, didn't hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, they only did it really the one year, 2 years, so maybe they didn't sell enough.
Sun shines east and the sun shines west, but Griffin Polly shines the best. Just listen to that every damn morning.
That's burned in your brain, right?
Clyde, why don't you introduce yourself? You worked on the actual WLW 500 kilowatt
That's correct.
transmitter.
Also worked here, Voice of America. I'm Clyde Hanley,
Yeah.
started in 1941, and I'm an old man right now.
We're all getting there.
Mike's got a great display here.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave's here, and he's gonna unlock the gray side.
Okay.
Next we did was good friends with not the National Archives, but the Library of Congress, and they had the big film vaults up at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and they were getting ready to move them, and they found a canister of a film that was about Cincinnati, kind of forgotten. It was an educational film from the mid-1930s, and so we put out a public plea and got some folks to donate money to preserve it and transfer it for future posterity. So it was kind of interesting, not necessarily broadcast related, but
Historically
it was a
related.
successful venture for us. So we moved from the earlier days into the 50s and 60s down here. And
Go on.
one of the things we have in this case here is this old lock. If you look on the other side of it, it says property of the WW Sound Effects Department. So who knows, it could have been on a Life of Mary Southern or a Mal Perkins broadcast or something.
It's looks like a door handle.
Yeah, the lock, the door latch, yeah, that's back in the days of real sound effects.
Don Wingent was our sound effects guy.
Try to sell a few things now and then just to raise a little extra money. But never. There's always a little bit of that behind everything. Yeah, we still play.
Did you have pictures of Crosby movie?
Yeah, I'll give that picture from this side here.
And what does this do exactly?
60 millimeter projector.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Basically, you had two of them. Everything kind of pointed to the middle, and then there was a pickup camera. And so when you had the movie of the week, you could get the next reel on the other machine.
And we multiplexed that through a multiplexer.
Right, and then there was one that was just slides, so you could have the slides in between the films.
A dual drum slide projector.
Yeah, we still have it back there. So that came out of CET, WCET, our public TV station. The 1,000 watt transmitter came from WMOH, and was working when we pulled it out. Jake Crawford and I muscled it in here.
Okay.
Using
There's a lot of hams.
right, I guess that's
on
popular.
160 meters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they like the 833 rigs.
We actually have about 4 extra tubes too, so.
Jim's got
Oh, I've seen
a
them.
GE rig that's got
Yep.
the same tube line up.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the old Gates VC one.
Jeff, who's a big supplier of TV transmitters these days?
Us and Roden Schwartz.
Roden Schwartz.
They're our main competitor. There's very little domestic competition anymore. Comark is, they still do a few.
In fact, I know some hams that are using that.
Yeah, I guess that is popular to
Macrodyne is pretty much out of business.
popular to
Wouldn't
convert.
Sony be able to buy
Sony's in trouble.
her? Are they?
Thank you.
Sony's going out of the broadcast business,
Okay.
and I'm told they're going out of the consumer electronics business. They need that stuff.
unbelievable.
Yeah, times change. You know, you get bean counters in there, they destroy value. But, no, we don't. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. They may, probably want me to go with it,
Yeah.
because
I
a
would think
lot,
they
a
would.
lot of the value in the radio side
It's
is
personal.
attached to me and
Sure.
and my customer relationships. But I'd like to keep working.
I retired at 74.
Yeah.
So we try to do 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s on this side, so that's great.
Yeah, it's really doing any
My
good.
son's a
Yeah.
cinematographer. He does all the photographic work for Obama.
Ah, okay. Wheatstone. So.
Yeah, actually, I used that for, I worked at LW back in the late 80s.
Yeah, okay.
It was the Air Studio board.
Yeah.
We got Terry Jacobs on our board of directors out here.
I know, I saw that. And you got Jim Baker too.
Jim Yeager, yeah.
Yeah, when I get some time. I've already, Jay and I have been recruited by Gary West to help on the antennas for the ham station. They want to recreate a curtain antenna out here.
Oh, God. Video. You saw her?
Yeah, I have.
No, I didn't see that.
I'm gonna show it to Jim before he leaves.
Okay.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Do you have a copy for sale?
No, but you can get off the internet.
What's that?
You can get off the
Oh,
internet.
can I?
In Kentucky for a while as an intern. And then the Air Force was recruiting ship negotiators, and she didn't know that she was even interested in that, but she thought she'd just interview for the experience.
That's
good, yeah.
That's Roscoe Duncan in the first television camera we built here in Cincinnati. Then I kind of scoped camera too.
And now we're getting out of the TV area. I'm still uncovering plastic back here, but we had kind of a little mini control room set up, but it's still
Yeah.
a couple of weeks away from being cleaned
You know
up.
what?
Good weather radar there, looks like.
Yeah, that was up on top of Mount Olympus, up in the top. It wasn't the first radar, probably the second.
Yeah.
or third.
Yeah.
First was a K-band.
Yeah.
But,
You know what?
Al Shuttlecotty.
Yeah.
Mary Ann Adrick worked for him at one time.
Now, is this one of these machines that you synchronize with a,
I think they used that for the news department, used that for
The iconoscope camera too. You know
TV
George
news
Brown
department,
and
used it for
RCA?
audio.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know
I
how
know of
they
him.
sync-
I didn't know, yeah, I know of him.
I know him. There, I said he used to be the Bill Hancher.
Yeah.
Remember Bill Hancher?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy I talked to is Mike Gray.
CET, which needs some power supplies. If we'd like to get it working again, actually. There's a guy from California who wanted to buy it off of us.
would you say ADR1?
AVR1.
AVR1?
Yeah.
This is a video?
It's one of the last state-of-the-art
First weather radar
Quad.
was a Decca
quad
from
machines,
London.
I remember that guy.
quad video.
It's a K-band.
They built a lot
But
of
it just
Yeah, that's what-
we got it running, but
we put like,
some of the
video
power
camera
supplies underneath
in
it
front of
just
it. To the microwave.
Do those-
downtown.
Plastic things slide open or close?
yeah.
Yeah, that would work. Well, that's the Ampex AVR1. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You need compressed air and all that to run that thing.
Yep.
Lot.
Okay.
Operator 500.
Yeah.
Running through city. We know how to fire it up and put it on the air.
And it uses pneumatics to suck the tape onto the head. There's a compressor underneath. So yeah, we have a switcher. We normally have a switcher out here, and just sort of stuff. I like to do it professionally someday to make it a working and yet visual.
That's Cincinnati's first radar.
But
Actually,
I was out there.
that's probably wrong if it says first, because actually the second.
That's the second weather radar.
Right.
And we were back in the back room of the park.
When they tore down the building, they
And there
literally
was a whole
brought that
shelf
down in
of wire wound resistors there.
with this big
And
crane thing.
I
So
spied a couple of
it's got bent up a
150K,
little bit. And,
200 watt wire ones.
We might take it out of there and
New in the
try to
box.
refurbish it.
Brand new in the box. Got it out of the box. Both dead.
Oh,
You measure from the terminals on the ends of the ceramic bar, open circuit, both of them. So apparently, sitting there for 40-some years or however long,
I'll be damned.
they got a little bit of corrosion inside between the wire and the connection.
Timeline.
But they were both adjustable with a slider.
Oh,
So I just very lightly buffed off the wire because it was all oxidized, right? And got 150K across the
Good.
ends of the wire, so I could put a couple clamps on it.
documentary last night measuring the output of an electric eel.
Oh,
You ever see that?
A long time ago, I saw something about that on public TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember how many kilovolts it is. It's a lot.
Well, they got up to 600 volts.
600 volts.
Wow.
It's DC.
It's DC.
Yeah.
The guy said it's all positive, but you had one night, how do you reverse the terminals? It'll be negative.
Yeah. Right.
What is this? Who is this name again?
Roscoe Duncan.
And he got you into
There's a
television.
Yeah,
there's a
that's
fellow I know that's got
1938.
some, got a
What's that?
TK11 and a TK41. I'm trying to.
What, what
Okay.
station?
It's WLWT.
Oh, WLWT.
Cincinnati.
That's got.
See the Crosby name
what,
upside
an
down on the-
Yes, I see it
North
now.
for the luminance and 3 Vidicon smearing color over it. I remember. NBC affiliate, all that.
Why, did you want to, I can turn the lights on.
Maybe it was an IoT from ARC if you wanted. But you have to get the whole transfer, I think they offered it once before, but how much?
It's called Station X.
I like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. KDU.
This is Rockwell's hand transmitter.
Okay.
Few favorites.
No, Armstrong was a favorite.
Yeah,
This one's a favorite, but not Armstrong.
No, I met Armstrong
Okay.
for the Palisades.
Yeah.
You saw my name
Up at yeah.
up in Jersey.
We're showing it. Which one you talking about?
The father.
All lightning strikes, right?
Hey Jeff,
Yes, sir.
here's one for you. Where are the heavier hits on the bottom half of the ball?
Why are the heavier hits?
The diameter of this part had a higher.
This was at the tip of the tower.
That was 831 feet, but the gradient, the voltage gradient down here was higher than it was up here. So it would break down on this first, and it'll look up like that.
Oh, well, why was that?
Well, the voltage gradient was a function of the radius.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I got you. So, but the lightning, you can't say that the lightning is coming from right above. It's coming from all around.
Now it's coming all around, went down this way.
Okay. Okay. So the bigger hits are on the bottom. Okay.
Just zoom in on.
7.5 kilowatts just to light the filament.
7.5 kilowatts?
Just to light the filament.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jim, didn't I give you one of my videos on the history of the 500?
You might have. I'd have to look in my files.
I thought I mailed you one when I finished that
You
video.
probably did.
If you didn't, let me know and I'll send you another.
Okay.
And if you
Great.
can't find yours,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know. I think that good.
no, hey.
We went over to Charlie's. I'd never been to Charlie's house.
Oh, you've never been?
Oh my God. We were just expecting to see a few pictures and a piece of equipment or two. We went down to the basement.
You're
Thank
entirely
you.
welcome, sir.
There's- there's
You
my
received my
concept.
bill.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me.
You guys can look at it and decide if most of it's.
Apparently, Bob was here last
There might be
night.
something.
Oh, really? Because there's
in
more
there.
stuff in the bottom of the first cabinet.
that's of
Did you know the
significance.
bottom a little bit full?
No.
It looks like there was more than I remember.
DR4, first pocket transistor radio. Got a little TV set in the lower right there.
It's a big screen.
Looks like OLED TV.
Now things have changed.
Yeah. No, the screen size is the same, but the rest of the box is a little smaller.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna downsize.
So I'm going out.
Yeah.
Outside.
Okay, I mean, I have things like, I've gotten rid of a lot of old computers, but I have one. Yeah. So, I don't know. Gotta find a home for that someday. But this is the input loop.
Another
Yeah.
show.
Okay, and that induces an electric field, and this is a tuned cavity. This little paddle here is tuned. Remember,
There
this
was
is all
sturdy in there.
this is all vacuum. You know, went in a vacuum. So there's a gap across here, and as the electromagnetic field interacts with the electron beam shot through there, it density modulates the electrons. Like compression rarefaction
Right.
of the electron beam. Okay, then it comes up into a second cavity, and there's an enhancement effect. It adds more energy with this tuned cavity. And the multiples. Clyde, you know anything about the little teeth on here? What
No,
they, has something to do with the physics of suppression of a mode or something. Don't know the exact purpose of those teeth, but this goes up through, 3 additional stages, the input cavity, 3 stages of amplification in the output cavity. And so by this time, the electrons are really bunched tightly and compression rarefaction, so there's a lot of energy then coupled out this loop. This is the output. And this whole thing has, I would guess, around 50 to 55 dB of gain.
I'm Bob Sands. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of Gray's History of Wireless and a hobbyist in the antique radio collecting and restoring hobby. I have a little collection of my own at home, and being educated back in the 50s in tube circuits, I'm able to restore most of the radios that I collect myself. So I usually start out these tours by asking the public and historians where the term wireless was used and why. And I explain that in the late 1800s, 1900 era, we had telephone, we had telegraph, but we did not have a wireless means of communicating information until the wireless, as it was called, came along. And hence the term Gray's History of Wireless. And then I asked the people, where'd the term radio come from? And I get a bunch of deer in the headlights stares. Gee, never thought about that, I don't know. Well, I did a little research myself, and the best thing I could find was that the term radio derived from the word radius, meaning to emanate out in an equal portion from a centralized point, much like radio broadcasting did from the little central antennas they used to use, or aerials as they called them in those days. And the term Jack Gray, History of Wireless, Jack Gray started this collection in the 50s. We have a little history of Jack Gray here, who was, as it shows, operating a spark transmitter and so forth. He started this collection in his garage in Mason, Ohio, right here, and donated this to start a museum for wireless equipment. So in here we have some of the earliest DeForest Audion detectors, and spark equipment which was used, I don't want to get too technical, but I always ask the public, did you ever hear a crack of lightning in your house and hear that static in a radio? And most people say, yeah, I heard that. I said, well, that's sort of like spark transmission. It's an electromagnetic radiation, and it's amplitude modulated, and hence similar to what we know as spark transmission that occurred in the late 1800s. In this case, we have Weston standard cells, which is still used today as a standard voltage reference from which all the other measurements in electronics, electricity can be calibrated. Crystal radios, crystal detectors, galena crystals, spark keys, which you usually can tell because they have a marble base to turn on and off the actual spark transmission. A spark coil, similar to what was used in the early Model Ts to generate high voltage. A standard D cell, or not D cell, A cell, I think it was called back then, was used to power this, and through a vibrator make and break the circuit and obtain a high voltage, which was then fed into a spark transmitter. Heavy duty spark equipment. Some very early valuable pieces. Then we go into the 20s. This is a favorite receiving set of mine, and a fairly valuable piece made by the Precision Equipment Company of Cincinnati. This is the receiver and the detector amplifier, which were tied together with strips of wire. This is the company that Crosley bought to start the Crosley Corporation. And one of Crosley's first radios was called the Ace. So this is before Crosley, and a very nice example of the Precision Equipment Company. These are loose couplers, very popular for receiving early transmission. More heavy-duty spark equipment for tuning the antenna and tuning the output, as well as the oscillator. Then in the 20s, I always sort of give the example of Atwater Kent and Crosley. Atwater Kent was the highest dollar volume manufacturer in the 1920s. He advertised using Hollywood movie stars, advertised to the big bucks people of the 20s, and started out as a molder of Bakelite products. All these are items he molded in his own factory. Used to sell them to the hobbyists, who then mounted them on breadboards at home to achieve a complete radio receiver. When Arthur Atwater Kent found out what they were doing, he said, well, I might as well do the same thing. He mounted his components on breadboards, if we call it that, and sold them to the public. Big dollar volume, very well made, very popular with collectors because most of them survived very well in today's day and age. He had the biggest dollar volume, but Crosley by far sold more radios. Why? Crosley sold radios for $7.50 that worked. $15 that worked. The Crosley 51, at one point he was making at the rate of 1,000 units a day. Very popular detector and one stage of amplifier. Crosley used a circuit licensed by Armstrong called the regenerative circuit, and Atwater Kent did not want to do that. He used straight tubes of RF amplification to achieve the same gain that Crosley achieved with one tube or two tubes. It took Atwater Kent 5 tubes to achieve the same type of performance. So Crosley had a complete line of radios by 1930 with one tube, the Crosley Pup, or the Crosley 50, putting the same circuit in a box, on up to 4 stages in the XJ unit and so forth. Later on, as we know, Crosley went on through the 30s and 40s, and in the 50s sold his company to Abco. Atwater Kent didn't want to put up with the hassles of the Depression, and he folded his company, just locked the doors and went away in 1935. In this showcase also we have a valuable artifact, which is the actual plaque of the 500,000 watt WLW radio, which was in use from 1934 to 1943. Very few of those were actually built, the 500 by Crosley being the first. There were a couple copies of that circuit later on. Then over here, also in the, let's say, the popular radio era of the 20s, later on, many manufacturers got in the business. It's more or less recognized that 1925 heralded the era of radio, because in 1925 was the first popular broadcast by KDKA in Pittsburgh. So a lot of manufacturers started advertising and producing a lot of radios of this nature. Greeby, Kennedy, and so forth. High-end radios. Several military pieces also in the 20s. After 1925, after the KDKA broadcast, radios continue to be more and more popular every day. And, well, this looks like a paragon, isn't it? Yeah. You know, this is the set with the RF TA, the set that amateurs use to monitor Marconi's transmission across the Atlantic. Then I usually tell the public that these are other artifacts like keys for telegraph transmission, detectors, so forth, and microphones that were used in this era of wireless to radio. And if we get out to the timeline, I usually explain to the public that it has been well written and documented that the 1930s were the golden age of radio. Due to the Depression, the public really couldn't afford to go out to many movies and nightclubs and entertainment, but radio was there. And once you invested in a tabletop radio, which by 1935 you could buy for about $7.50. The Golden Age of Radio, the book, stated that in that time, if you walked in the summertime down the streets of Brooklyn, there was no air conditioning, people couldn't afford that either. They walked up and down the streets at night, and you could listen to Amos and Andy and not miss a word. Everybody had it on, everybody had their windows open. That was the source of entertainment in the Depression era of the 30s. And radio has continued to be popular. In the 40s, of course, we know FM was invented by Armstrong, and radio has continued to prosper as we see in the timeline.
It's wonderful.
That's my pitch.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you can add a lot to that. But I have to keep it fairly simple because of Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And
ABC New York, and then he was with Jones Consulting Engineering. But anyway, Jay and I disposed of all of his hand gear and his other gear for his wife over the last 2 years of dating. He had some unbuilt Heathkits.
Oh,
They want them new in the box, sealed in the box. I mean, he had like
you wanna get a picture of the blower? in that thing?
Sure.
overload your TV camera when you're done.
There, you can go in
Okay.
next time. Let's take a
Yeah.
picture too.
To do all of our scheduling, sign-off tapes. They were all rolled by the 3M switch. All the program switching on the hour, the computer took care of that. And we had a master clock that was synced once an hour, and the master clock synced the 3M switch. So all of our timing was dead on, and most of the audio switching, we just sat back and watched it happen.
Oh, I've got that as my map digitized too.
Oh, okay.
KVA substations to 4160. And these are the two 4160 main breakers, and then we had a tiebreaker. So we could actually take a transformer out of service, close the tiebreaker, and power all 6 transmitters
Ah,
with one substation. 3750 kVA was enough power to run
Wow.
all the transmitters, plus the building, plus all the sideband transmitters simultaneously.